What's going on, everybody? I wanted to jump on and record a video to talk more about how powerful our forest raves are, our ecstatic dance parties, because I think there's a lot of nuance that needs to be talked about that isn't readily talked about, of how much we need these community dance parties and how ingrained in like our nervous system and DNA communal dance is, and like my experience with dancing and the reason why I want to hold these events and these gatherings. Ever since I was a little girl, I was an only child and I was dancing by myself in my basement. My mom had cassette tapes and I had my little tape player, and Madonna was my favorite. I was dancing as a little kid to Like a Virgin and Living on a Prayer, like that whole album. I loved it, and I would make up dances and I could see myself in the sliding glass door, and I would just dance and dance and dance, and I'm sure it drove my parents crazy that I would rewind and play and rewind and play. I never wanted to show them. Like, I never wanted to like perform in front of anybody. They were just for me. Or when I got older and my friends came over, like we would make up dances and like we would dance together, but it was never like a performance for anybody else but ourselves. Like we never, at least I don't remember like dancing to perform for our parents or like things like that. I just always just loved dancing. And so as I got older, I loved school dances. I loved going to school dances and like dancing with all my friends and just listening to the latest music. And as I got older, I loved going to the club and to bars. Like that was just the thing that we did. And once we got older and into college, there was drinking involved, but like I was never a person that needed to be drinking to like want to get on the dance floor as soon as we got there. Like I didn't care. I just wanted to be dancing. I just loved it. And I dance all the time at home. I love blasting music. One thing is I've learned about myself is that even as a teenager, like before white noise became a popular thing, like we would just let the radio play. Like we had alarm clocks that had the radios. And so like I would just let the radio play, or like once I got my own CD player or headphones or something, like I would just let music play. Like I would fall asleep to music. And so it's just like I've always been around, like I've always had music in my life, and I love all genres of music. I just enjoy the variety of beats, the variety of lyrics, everything like that. And so I grew up I was born in 86, so I was like, grew up in some 80s, definitely grew up in the 90s and 2000s with the wide variety of music genres that existed at that time and that were popular at that time. So everything from old school rap to pop to EDM to emo to rock, classic rock, everything. I love everything. And so this is just like my history. And so there is something that is humanly innate that I've learned through my research and my studies about the human body, about our nervous system, about our collective nervous system, about us as Homo sapiens, of our need for community, about being together. And so music festivals, concerts are so powerful because people, like our energy is drawn to sound and music, and it's also drawn to the people in the crowd and like being in community for one specific event or festival or something like that. We like crave that. Even better if it's outside, right? And so like we have that desire within like our nervous systems to be in community. And then energetically, especially as women, we carry so much and we are responsible for so much, that like we need to process it. And Mitch talks so beautifully about this, but when an animal is in the wild, let's say antelope, and the antelope gets chased by a lion and survives, like it outruns it, that stress, it doesn't hold that stress in. That stress doesn't live with it forever and traumatizes that antelope. Animals vibrate and shake off stress instantly, and that stress then leaves their bodies because they processed it out, they shook it out, they moved it out, and then they go back to grazing, or they go back to mating. They're not humans where they are attached to their trauma for years and years and years. So especially as women, I mean, all humans, men and women, need to be moving and shaking to process out emotions and energies. But like, you can look up research on movement and dance for womb health, womb energy, organ energy, just processing of trauma. There's so much that you can learn about why movement is so important to our bodies. And it's a quick Google search. I'm not going to like list out studies for you. Like, you can find it. You have a supercomputer that you're watching me on probably, so you can Google and find all that you need to know. I'm just putting it on your radar. So there is so much research on the importance of the dance movements, the jumping, the shaking, the gyrating, the spirals that we create, the energy that the movement produces, the shaking and letting go, the intuition of movement that happens when we aren't constructing what the dance should look like. That's a really important layer that I also want to talk about. But the healing of the dance and the movement in and of itself is so powerful. And then to talk about the construct of what dance should be is another layer to it. And so like with that video of me dancing, like, I'm not dancing because like I saw that routine somewhere, or I think that that's how that song should be represented through my body, or it's like a routine that I practice, or it's movements that I've practiced for that song, or like I'm doing those moves because other women are watching me, so that's what I think that I should be moving because they think I should be moving like that. Like, whatever the story is, like, there is a point of conscious realization in ecstatic dance and in our forest raves where I want women to move how they feel the music moves them. There is no like, oh, this is a sexy song, so I should be shaking my hips, or whatever it is. Oh, the song says to put my hands up, so I'm going to put my hands up. Like, sure, we did that, but it's like, you don't have to do that. And you also like don't have to perceive what we expect you to be moving as how you should be moving your body. I want everyone's goal for our forest raves especially, and if you go to ecstatic dance, wherever you go and dance and move your body, I want you to just move how your body wants to move. I don't want you to think your way through the movement or think that you should be doing something. Like, there is no shoulding in our forest raves. And it's just closing your eyes, feeling the vibrations and the sounds and the melodies and the bass, and like moving how your body wants to move, how you intuitively want to move, and however that looks is how it's going to look. And this is so powerful to me because we live our lives with shoulds and boundaries and ways to do things appropriately and by our partner standards and our kids' standards and our teachers and our bosses and our parents and our aunts and our uncles. Like, culturally, like, we live our life through a lens and perspective of how we should behave and act and be perceived as, and we make those choices based on how we think others will perceive our actions, words, movements, whatever. And so when you come to a forest rave, I want everyone to start having the perspective of there are no expectations of you. So there are no expectations that you have to live by in that moment. I want those thoughts, those ways of being, those burdens that we put on ourselves, be it for good or bad reasons, I want them to dissolve while you're in the forest and in community, in a safe space, because I think that we need to for the 2 hours, for the 90 minutes that we are with each other. There is something so spiritually and emotionally and energetically and mentally freeing to not give a shit about how you have to perform or be or do or say or move that is going to change you. And I think this is the root of why I know this is so important. These gatherings are so important. And I haven't been able to verbalize it until this very minute in this very video. After a night of like amazingness with other women, I just know that so many women are suffering or aren't living their fullest expression, are unhappy, haven't felt like they've met their full potential, whatever they're feeling. Like, this is an opportunity to physically embody the unburdenedness of existence. And what comes from that embodiment is supremely powerful. And it changes you in the best of ways. And there is no other replication for this experience. Like, you cannot think your way into this physical experience. And why this is so powerful is because your brain is only up here, and then you have the rest of your body that is feeling and thinking. As Jill Miller puts it of Yoga Tune-Up, my body thinks and feels. Thinks in feels. And so what that means is, like, your body is always listening, your body is always expressing, and we try to outthink it and overthink it. But what it comes down to is allowing your body to move and express in the ways that it needs to, not what you think it needs to. And that's really, 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 really fucking important. And so the forest raves and any ecstatic dance that you can get to is helping you get to that, whatever that is. But it's allowing you to take the responsibilities off for the moment, to take the shoulds off, take the expectations off, lay them down for a little while, and just be in the present moment, be in your body, and give your body the gift of expression, of listening, of processing, of being here now. And because we don't do that enough, it's so necessary and it's so rewarding. And so I just hope that if you're local, you come on out. If you are not, I hope you have dance parties in your house as much as you possibly can and don't care who's watching. Dance as if no one is watching, for real. And on my very last thing to say, like I was saying before, I grew up with all genres of music in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So I feel the beats. I feel the changes. I might sing along to the lyrics, but what I'm just tuning into is how it's moving my body. At our forest rave, we had rap music, we had rock, we had electronic, like it sounded like computer noises. It was amazing. I smile at all of it. I welcome all of it because every new song is a different opportunity for my body to just move in the weird fucking ways that it wants to move. Like, I'm not telling my body to gyrate my hips or like bounce up and down. I can't even remember the song, but there was one song where I literally jumped, like ankle bounced, jumped like a kangaroo. I bounced the entire song. I'm like, what? Like in my mind, I was like, what am I doing? But like my body just wanted to bounce. Like that whole song, it felt amazing. I had no judgment of myself. I was like, what am I doing? But we're going with it. But my body just wanted to do that movement for the whole time. And I was like, this is an awesome calf burn. Like, holy moly, this is happening. But I just let it happen. Like, it's what my body wanted to do. I just let it do it. I didn't try to change it. I didn't try to force it to do anything. I let it go, and then eventually it stopped, and I was just like swaying. It was this like high intensity song, and after I was done bouncing, I needed a break. So I was just like swaying there and breathing and like feeling my body, and that continued on to the next song, and then I got invigorated by that new song, and my body started moving in a different way, and it was all good. I just want everyone to have no judgment of music. I don't want you to have any attachment to music, or any genre of music, or like the words and the languages of music, because obviously we can't please everybody, right? Like we're in a group, everyone's gonna have different preferences, right? But I don't want your story of a genre to hold you back from like potentially experiencing something really powerful. So if you have an aversion, like you think you have an aversion to EDM, not everyone likes electronic music. Like it can sound like computer noise, 100%. Like I agree with you, but I want you to try to listen and just feel let your body express what your body wants to express with that song. I don't want you to attach a story of like, this is stupid. Why would anyone make this music? Like, who even makes this music? Like, why would they do it? Like, how do people like even like this? Like, you can go to an EDM concert of all this stuff. Like, I want you to calm your mind, be here now. You don't have to have all those thoughts in that moment. You know, it's okay to have those thoughts in the moment, like no judgment. But I want you to try dropping out of your thinking head and just embrace that the sounds are inviting you to move your body in a way that is not thinking, if with your brain. It's a feeling, and you're feeling what those sounds and those vibrations are doing for you. And it may be time for a water break. Like, you may not be attracted to that song and you're like, meh, and it's time for a water break. Sit down, stretch, break, whatever. That's totally fine. But I know a lot of times with very specific genres, we have a story, and I feel like that stops you from enjoying the moment, because I literally smile at every song that comes on, because I am so excited about how I can then move and jump and swirl and twirl and whatever it is that I'm gonna do. And so if we can approach every song with that attitude of like, oh, I'm curious about how this is going to move me, then we're gonna get so much more out of a forest rave, out of an ecstatic dance experience, out of a concert, out of a festival. If we go with that curiosity, we're gonna reap so much more reward, and our body is gonna reap so much more reward and thank us in those moments when we may process something, we may release something, and we're really gonna get all the juice out of the squeeze of our time spent dancing together. I know that was a pretty long video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and please comment with your dance experiences, with your movement, your releases, your aha moments, everything in between. Feel free to comment. I would love to hear. And with that, have a great day or night, whenever you're watching it, and I'll talk to you soon.